Alright. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Nihanda Helmker, and here we discuss a better life and learning how to be your best self. If you hear someone in the background singing, I think my daughter is getting ready to go out on a date. Maybe she's going to go meet up with friends, or I don't know. So that's what that is. Copyright, copyright. You're looking at the thumbnail and you just want us to get into it, so let's get into it because this is a topic that is very, very delicate. And it's delicate because a lot of people are very triggered by this topic and what I've had to say in the past on this topic, but I want us to approach it from a perspective of not anything that Nihanda said you should do, but what the reality of the dating market is. So let's get into it, shall we? Cheating. I did not write any notes, y'all. This is literally a blank page because I feel like this is something that I need to talk about from the heart. Listen back, see what my audience says, and then give some perspective because um based on what I have heard from women, that shout out to all the women who were so brave to share their stories and experiences with me in confidence and open up and be vulnerable about what their situations were, those who chose to stay, those who chose not to stay, and why they did or did not. Now I'm going to get into those anecdotes and a little bit more on um my podcast, which airs tomorrow, if not tonight, on Anchor, which is Spotify. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description to that later on. But so let's get into cheating. Now, when I first talked to um not a relationship expert, but a people expert, right? Someone who deals with people on a regular basis. I asked him, a man who was very, very popular, very diplomatic, well traveled, well spoken, well cultured, black, and quite a good looking guy. I mean, brother man had it going on. And he was somebody that I looked up to and revered as a father figure and a mentor. And so one time we had a very personal conversation at one of our dinner meetings, and I asked him his take on cheating. And he said, look, men are not just tools. We are human beings with feelings, and some of us have integral guidance. He didn't say spiritual or, believing in the Bible, but integral guidance that prevents us from wanting to cross that line. It's not just about me and what I want, but how I see myself in a relationship if I choose to be a married man. And if I choose to be a married man, I understand that with that comes responsibility and vows. And if I treat my vows with value and respect, then I don't want to be the type of person who would even consider cheating as a part of my dynamic. However, the the current climate of men and the availability of quality men is so small that it is very hard for a man to fight off these kinds of temptations on a regular basis. The more successful, high value, and well appreciated a man is by women and his peers, the harder it will become as he climbs the success ladder. And that is very interestingly true because I think it was later on that day or sometime along that week, I had introduced this mentor to another person that I worked with, a woman who I also kind of respected, but didn't work directly with, and I just saw this woman literally melt. Like my mentor always wears his wedding ring, and that's a thing. Like he's not trying to step out on his wife. As far as I could see, every time we were interacting with each other, he was a very respectful guy. And I give this anecdotal experience because while a lot of women will say most men of means are so used to and have available to them so many women who are throwing themselves at them, a lot of women are not in these circles enough to understand that a lot of these men are not actually acting on these advances that they're getting from women. Now, people might say that I'm being naive by saying that, but women who are moving in certain circles don't actually know what goes on behind closed doors when men are being approached by other women who are seeking to hook up with, get along with, or even try to, infringe on a marriage, if you may. And I think that once I saw his response to this woman, because she was doing the most, y'all. She was like falling all over herself. And he was just like, he thought that she was ridiculous. Like, he looked at her straight up like, are you okay? Because she was like, you got something. She was just like batting her eyes and doing all of this and that. And he was just like, you got something in your eye, do I need to call a physician or something? So I was personally tickled because, you know, I knew that I wanted to be married, and I knew that I, this was one major trigger. Ladies, for those of you who are listening, this is a major trigger for me. So I don't want anybody coming up on my channel and thinking that I don't struggle with um this being an issue in my own personal opinion of how a relationship is supposed to work. And a part of that has to do with the fact that I've had very negative experiences with men who have cheated on me. And I think everyone has those experiences, or a lot of people have those experiences for one of two reasons. You're aiming um, you are unrealistic about the kind of relationship that you have based on how you and that person got together. And one of the things that I notice about I recall when dealing with certain kind of men is that you will hear men say, and shout out to all the men who are very open and honest with me about their just indiscretions, or situations that they messed up on, or didn't feel like they messed up on, whatever the case may be. Shout out to y'all for being so open and honest, because I've heard a lot of men say that men are as faithful and as loyal as their money and their means will take them. So out and I've also heard that um while there are various reasons and popular reasons for why men cheat, most men find themselves in a situation where they are very pressed to say yes and find it hard to say no. Now, is that to say that a man should act on advances that are available to him? Is that to say that men should try to avoid these situations? They're unavoidable, and they're becoming more and more unavoidable because the ratio of man to woman, especially if you're talking about men of means and status, those men are few and far between, and the number of women who are vying for those men, whether they may be able to get those men or not, is increasing steadily because a lot of women are staying single longer. And so that is the dynamic of the dating pool. Men have way more options than they know what to do with. Men have way more options than they know what to do with. And women don't really understand that when picking a mate. And I didn't understand that when I experienced my partner who cheated on me constantly. And he may have wanted to do the right thing. He may have just felt like, why pass up a good thing? I'm young, attractive, I have money, and many women want to be with me. I'm doing, he might have thought to himself that he was doing a service. But I knew that he knew that what he was doing was wrong, because if you say you love someone, you hurt them when you are disloyal to them. Um, the reason I knew that he felt some kind of way about it was because he was trying to keep it away from me. Like, he was trying to not always fully 100% admit, yeah, I have a girl on the side, um, or a few. And so that is the other thing that women need to understand, is that if you're getting into a situation with a guy who is having women throw themselves at him on a regular basis, then you need to be very clear about how much that is a reality of your situation. Like, don't expect that a man who has means and money and looks is just going to just have you. You need to get in line. That's just the reality. And it's not to say that there aren't men who are in said position who don't have a character, um, that will enable him to remain faithful, loyal, and monogamous. That it's not to say that that doesn't exist, but for the most part, these men are dealing with a lot more than their good conscience. They are dealing with the sirens and the hires and of today. And if you guys haven't checked out my last video about pornography and what it does to the male psyche and his ability to function in these circles, you would not know much more about how these things infringe on a man's purpose based on his lifestyle choices, and habits. So, if you're looking for a faithful, loyal, dependable, well-minded, good character, um, man of means and status with money, that is already eight things that are extremely hard to combine, and like I said, they're few and far between. I think that women have to learn how to settle, so that if cheating is a real issue for you, you give up some of the other things that come along with having a man who might not have so much access to so many women at one given point in time. And if I'm completely honest, that was one of the reasons why I chose that's one of the reasons why I chose my husband, because his profession is 99.9% male oriented. Most of the people that he works directly with are men. So there is no at work hookups, because there are no unless it's a dude, it's just not gonna happen. Okay, my husband is a very attractive man with means and status. He's well respected among his peers, and but he's the type of person that stays home. And I think that that was one of the things that I really looked for with my intentionality of the type of person that I chose, because usually I chose men s- um based on status, purpose, and their financial means. And most men who have financial means, depending on what they do, have access to other kinds of women within the workplace, as well as um, women trying to get at them in their social settings. So my husband doesn't really socialize. I mean, I could count on one hand in the year the social events that he goes to without me. And it's not because I'm trying to keep him here. He's just not that type of person. So, the other thing about cheating, hang on a second. Okay, so the other thing about cheating is also, what are some of the activities, like you talked about activities just now, what are some of the activities that your husband or partner likes to do? I know that some guys like to go drinking, some guys like to go to the casino. I really would have a clear-cut conversation about the kinds of activities that my partner gets into before I go into the I do, because that will tell you exactly how prone and susceptible a person is to cheating. Now, the last thing I want to say, and people are going to agree, disagree, indifferent, is that all cheating is not created equal. All right. And you choose your battles when it comes to the kind of cheating. We have all heard stories of men having whole families alongside their wife. And oh my gosh, you know what? Yeah, so y'all are gonna get all the anecdotal stories, and I will share them without names, of course, of some of the things that I have heard women say they have left their husband for. But they're not all cheating is created equal. Some men might have a fling, and the fling might want more, and he was trying to give her a fake name, and then all of a sudden she starts coming around and stalking you. Some man might have a whole family, you know what I'm saying? Some man might go to the strip club. Now, you as a woman have to decide as to what level of this. Some men might watch porn. Um, Now, of course, a lot of people have asked me what would I put up with? Like, what kind of cheating? I just want to say that I am not trying to give my partner away to any other person, and so um and I would like to also say that he's not the type of person that cheats. You know, I have approached my relationship in good faith that that's just not going to happen. If it does happen, I think that I would have to examine the circumstances before I jump to conclusions. My husband always jokes that I would cheat before he would because that's just, he's not in these streets as much as I am. I don't know how I feel about saying that. Maybe I should edit this part out. But we are both homebodies. We have two children, and we both realize and understand what is at stake. And we never stay in any kind of situation long enough for us to even entertain the idea of being with someone other than each other. And we do many, if not a lot, of our free time activities together. Is one of the reasons, it's one of the things that we were told to do in our marriage preparation course. And in the beginning it was just like, I don't understand why this is even a thing. But now that we've been married longer, we are starting to see how that affects our ability to stay connected, intimate, and together. And I think that is something that we really, anyone who is interested in remaining in their relationship should really consider changing if you are not already doing this. But like I said, know that not all cheating is created equal, and you have to really weigh all of your options before you dismantle your marriage. Your marriage, not your relationship, but your marriage. I feel like in a marriage setting, it is a completely different dynamic than if you are in a long term relationship or a common law relationship and your partner cheats on you. Um, because you can just and dissolve the relationship without having to have the legal ramifications of separating depending on how long you have been and what you have acquired together. I know some people who are going through divorce or just finished getting a divorce that it can get really messy. There's no such thing as a real civil divorce, in my opinion. These things take time, energy, and more importantly, not more importantly, but emotions and money. All right. And this is why people, that's why Dateline TV exists, because she was trying to leave and it was coming to divorce. And he was just like, nope, chop, chop. She was trying, he was trying to leave and she was like, chop. So, do your diligence and really have, again, my mantra is self awareness. You cannot have enough self awareness to really understand yourself, what you will and will not put up with, and what goes along with that, because it is imperative to your happiness and the person you end up marrying to know exactly what it is you're getting into, and also understand, unfortunately, people and things change. I've heard some heartbreaking stories of that happening, and I always wonder, what would I do if I were in said situation? Would I react the same or would I not? We're going to get into some of the anecdotes on my Spotify, so stay tuned for that, and we might have to do a part two. I don't know, guys, did I cover everything? I feel like I was a little bit, just real beige, like my jacket, like my loungewear, and not really getting too detailed into this conversation. But I want you guys to talk to me. Tell me what you think. Did I miss something? Should I be talking more about something? Um, Leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And of course, if you can, please make sure to stay safe and stay free.